Hi, okay, so here we have it. This is the finished file I came up with. It's definitely not the only way to do this, but it's the way. It looks the same, more or less. If I look at it from the top, you can see I created it like this, which is a lot easier. And it doesn't really matter. You can put a rotate, vector rotate here, for instance, like rotate, or a mapping node, and put 45 degrees in here. Ha, and you get it. Just what you want. What's the thing that is important? I use object coordinates, because if I get into edit mode here, and I scale this, for instance, in the X, you can see that the pattern doesn't change. And that's, as far as I think, that's only with the object coordinates that you can do that. Okay, sorry. The repetition, that's these. That's, well, for a second, let's get rid of this node. Repetition are these things, and the pattern also has a repetition. That's actually just this part here, one cell. And now I'm going to delete it. I'll start from scratch. X. I'm not going to use this now. So we take the input texture coordinates, and like I said, we're going to use the object coordinates. Let's look at them now. This goes from -1 to 1 in X and in Y and in Z, but we're not going to use that. So the center is 0, 0. What I'm going to do, sorry, got this in the quick menu, in the quick favorites. I'm going to multiply this by 0.5 in X and Y, and 0 in the Z. So we get rid of that. I'm going to remove this node later on, but it's for now it's easier, because now I go from -0.5 to 0.5, which means this has a length of 1. And if I'm now going to subdivide it, because I need 5 these thingies, so I'm going to subdivide it into 5 parts, and if this was from -1 to 1, then I would have to multiply it by 2.5, and I don't like that. It's not a problem, but I will do it this way. This is going to be removed later on, and we will see why. So first, I'm not going to be able to use the trick in the file I gave you before, because we want the pointy edges. Converter, separate XYZ, and then we need a converter, combine XYZ later on. X and Y. So this Z vector doesn't matter anymore, because we removed it here again. So if you want, we can set this to scale 0.5. Does the same thing. Don't know. This might be a bit faster actually, but I'm not sure. Okay. I am going to do some math here. I'm going to multiply this by 5. This is what I said, it's easier to get a total length of 1. Because now we can do this. And then I'm going to other math node, multiply by 0.2, which doesn't do anything. But now I'm going to use another math node and set this to ping pong. And what this does is, look at it like this, it starts at 1 and then it goes to 0 and 1, 0, 1, 0, and 5 times. So 5 times it is 0. And if I'm going to take the length of this thing, then where it is less than 0.5, for instance, I get a circle here. I can actually already set this thing here, set this to length, and then another math node, less than, don't see anything now, but see that this, like, it makes circles here. And what I'm going to do now, and if I didn't use this multiply, the circles would be not circular. And this is sort of what I did the first time. But now I'm going to do something else, because you want pointy edges. I'm going to do this. I'm not, but after this I'm going to add a small value to it. Math node add and 0.15. Why 0.15? Well, if I set this to a 0.1, you see I get these shapes, but they touch each other and we want some space between it. And if I set this to 0.2, they're gone. But if I set this to 0.15, I get exactly what I want, what you want. Only thing is I don't want it, I want it to stretch more like this. So I manipulate the y coordinates, another math node, and multiply this by a value. 0.3 seems to be okay. Alright. So now the distance between two of those things is the same as the width of one of them. And that's because I'm exactly in between 0.1 and 0.2. Great, that's actually a lot of work already. Now we're going to start again. I'm going to take this like coordinates. Look at them, right? This is what we have. Now I'm going to vector math. Now I'm going to multiply this by 5 in x and y. So remember, it was going from -1 to 1, so now it's going from -5 to 5. But this had nothing to do with this 5, and to avoid confusion, let's put this to 7. So it goes from -7 to 7. And now I'm going to take the vector math, set this to fraction. Here. And now we have cells. Each of them has its own coordinate system. But because this was -7 in x and y, and if you take the fraction that is 7, it goes from -7 to 1, it goes from 0 towards 1. And that's why this 0 is in the edge, and I don't want it, I want it in the middle. But remember, this is a length 1, right? Remember what we had before? When I took the scale to a 0.5 to get from -0.5 to 0.5, so this cell is the same as what we had here, only there's more of them, if that makes sense. Another vector math fraction, I am going to add 0.5, or probably subtract. So now it goes from -0.5 to 0.5 each time in each cell. And I can put it in here. And I've got almost what we want, only they're all pointing in the same direction. So I want to rotate half of them. And to access that, I'm not going to take the fraction. Q, vector math, but this time I'm going to take the floor. Ceiling would work as well. And what this does is it goes -7, -7. This whole cell has -7, -7. This is -6, -7. And the next cell is -5, -7, etc., etc. What I do now is I'm going to separate XYZ again from these floors. So I've got these two numbers separately, and then I'm just simply adding them. I don't know why this is the default there, because it's one I use least. But anyway, so what we need to do now is have a, as you can see, they are all different, but diagonally, it's not visible in the negative numbers, but diagonally they are the same. And if I now multiply this by pi divided by 2, and then take a vector rotate, and I can plug this in the angle, in the vector, and then this in here, and ta-da, I've made a mistake. Here, yeah, you see? Oh, yes, of course, multiply. Stupid. And there we are. This note is no longer needed, and like I said, we can take a vector rotate here that is to 45 degrees if we want. Right. Mind you, that's one thing you need to know by with the vector rotate. If you have the angle set to degrees, then you can fill in degrees here, but if you plug a value in, then this value needs to be in radians. That's why I multiply by half pi. Well, that is mostly it. If you want, because now we have black and white and not this rounded edges, so that's this less than node that makes it black and white, and we need to. What could you do? Probably if I take a vector curves. RGB curves. And so take this as a color. You need a color ramp after this, because otherwise it doesn't get black and white values. Can I actually flip this? And something like this. This color gives a color output, and if I don't use a color ramp, you can't really see it, but it's it gives the luminance, takes the luminance of the color instead of the black and white value. Yeah, well, it's a bit complicated. And anyway, the color ramp does it, and then, well, you sort of get this. The thing I don't like is this hard edge in the middle. I would like to cut that off. Can I actually? B-spline. There's always this sharp edge in the middle. What if I take this color? Right? And just want to try something. I take, okay, back there, and bring this down to a. No, that doesn't help either. I'm sorry, I don't know. I'm pretty sure there should be a way to do this, but at the top of my head, I wouldn't know. Maybe we can use math for this and square this. Right. But we need to adjust these values now. So this needs to be more. This needs to be less, I think. 0.2. No more. 0.2. One, 7. I'm still getting this harsh line. I actually want this flattened out. But well, it is smoother, so we can just delete this and a principled shader. And put this into the bump. And the pattern is not a problem, as you can see, but this is what I mean. It looks like you get a really harsh, sharp edge here, which I don't like. And one. I just do a metallic. Oh, from a distance it's okay. We use this bit, it doesn't make much difference. It's weird. This is often a problem with the bump, but okay. I'll leave it this for now. Hope this was helpful. Sorry for the rambling, especially at the end, but okay. If you have any questions left, just ask. Okay, bye.